Unit 3, Moles and Stoichiometry. Lesson 1, Moles and Molar Mass. How are the number of atoms in a molecule determined? By the end of this video, you will be able to determine the number of atoms in a molecule and calculate the molar mass. Review counting atoms. Recall that the subscripts are the number of atoms in a formula. Coefficients are the total number of molecules or total number of molecules or of that compound. For example, when I have this chemical formula written with the 3 in front, what each number refers to, the little numbers below are the subscripts, and they refer only to the element that they are behind. The number in front, the large coefficient, refers to everything after it. So if I'm going to count up the total number of atoms of each element, calcium will have 3 times 3, so that'll be 9. Phosphorus will be 2. These parentheses, this 2 refers to everything inside the parentheses, so I would have 2 times 1, which is 2, times that 3, which makes 6. For oxygen, I'm going to have 4 times 2, which is 8, times that 3, which equals 24. So recall how to do that. How many atoms are in each substance? Check your work. Stoichiometry is the study of the atoms of reactants and products in chemical reactions, or the study of chemical recipes. The mole is defined as the unit that measures the amount or number of particles of a substance. 1 mole is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles. That's how many things we have. 1 mole is also equal to the gram formula mass. So this is one of the important concepts that you should become very familiar with. Why do we have this term? Atoms are so tiny that we have lots of them in a given sample, and I mean a lot. 1 mole of eggs is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd eggs. That's what a mole is. That's the number of things it is. However, it's just a number. For example, 1 dozen eggs is equal to 12 eggs. So we can use that same idea, that same concept. If I have a certain number of dozens of eggs, I can calculate how many total eggs I have using this conversion. The same thing can apply. If I have a certain number of moles of a substance, I can calculate how many things I have of that. For example, if I have 3.5 dozen roses, I'm just going to take 3.5 times the number of eggs in a dozen, which is 12, which will equal a total of 42 roses. The same idea will apply to moles. 3.5 moles is going to equal 3.5 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd things. So 3.5 times that number is going to equal 2.1 times 10 to the 24th roses. The molar mass, also known as the gram formula mass, abbreviated GFM, or molecular mass, is the mass of the formula expressed in grams. This is equal to 1 mole, and the units are grams per mole. The elements' molar masses are reported on the periodic table, so this is important for you to remember. To calculate the molar mass, we're going to follow these steps. 1, you're going to first count the atoms in the compound. Each element will be listed and the number of each element written down. Look up the mass of each atom or element on the periodic table, and then you're going to multiply that mass by the number of atoms of each element. Then I'm going to add up that total mass, and that is our gram formula mass of that compound. So the molar mass examples for elements. What is the molar mass of iron? On your periodic table, you'll find this number with the decimal. That is the atomic mass of iron, and the molar mass of iron is going to equal that number. When we calculate gram formula mass, you can round to the whole number. So this will be 56, or if you choose, you can round to 1 decimal place. So this will be 55.9. What is the molar mass of copper? So using that same example, here is copper, element symbol Cu. This is the atomic mass of copper, so that is also the same as its molar mass. So we can round to 64, or if we use 1 decimal place, 63.6 is how I would round that. For compounds, we're going to have to know the chemical formula. So what is the molar mass of water? That is our chemical formula. If they don't give it to us, you're going to have to know how to figure it out. So water you should recognize as H2O. So in order to calculate the gram formula mass, I'm going to list all of my elements. This is what I call the chart. I'm going to make a nice column. I have 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. So that's the number of moles of each one that I have. I'm going to multiply that by their masses. So the mass of hydrogen you'll get from the periodic table is this 1.00791. So I'm just going to round that to 1. The mass of oxygen is 15.9994. So I'm just going to round that to 16. So then I make another column, and that's my total. So 2 times 1 is going to equal to 2. 1 times 16 is equal to 16. So then when I add these up, 2 plus 16 is 18. And the units for that are grams per mole. What is the gram formula mass of calcium chloride? So having not done a lot of the chemical formulas, I will tell you calcium chloride is going to be CaCl2. So you will have to learn how to get the formula from a name later. Using my same chart method, I have 1 calcium and 2 chlorines. So 1 and 2. And those are the number of moles I have of each times their mass. So the mass of calcium, if you look on the periodic table, is 40.08. So I'm just going to round that to 40. Chlorine is 35.453. So I'm just going to round that to, we'll round it to 36. If you round it to 35, that would be acceptable for this. 1 times 40 is 40. 2 times 36, just so I don't mess, should be 72. I'll just check my math. Good, 72. Then if I add these two together, 40 plus 72 is going to equal 112. And the units for that are grams per mole. So the next slide is just another way to represent the same thing. You can also add it up this way, 2 times 1 plus 16. So if you look at the numbers back in my chart, 2 times 1 times 1, or plus 1 times 16, it's going to equal 18 grams per mole. Calcium chloride, CaCl2, is equal to 40. Here's my 40. 1 times 40 plus 2 times 35.5, or 36, will equal 111.1. So you can see that my rounding got a slightly different number than this, but I would recognize that that's close enough because I know where this number came from to accept that value. So check your understanding, fill in the table in your packet. So you are now able to determine the number of atoms in a molecule and calculate the molar mass of a compound.